All right, y'all, man. It's your boy Humble Two Times for me. Back in the video, man. For me, follow the Instagram at Humble Two Times. Now, look, today's time we're talking about the O represents God. Now, look, for today's video, I want to give a huge shout out to the Most High in general for everything. I'm also giving a huge shout out to myself as well for wanting to receive this good information and give out this good information as well. I'm also giving a huge shout out to everyone and to y'all. Y'all literally take energy out of y'all's day to come rock me, show me love, support. You feel me? I appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all so much more than love, always deeply. I'm also sending good positive energy, good positive protection, good positive feeling, and good positive energy towards everyone always. Now let's go ahead and get ready into the video. Excuse me. Also, if you want to book a one-on-one consultation with me, just DM me on my Instagram at HumbleAli2Times. Let's go ahead and get ready into the video. The O represents God. Now look, right, I want to give a huge shout out to this guy. I don't fully remember his whole username, but shout out to God, right? Shout out to God. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Elder God. Shout out to God always, deeply. Definitely inspired me, definitely helped me to make this video. So shout out to God as well. And in general, shout out to God. Now look, right, the O, right? See, the O represents God. Now, why am I bringing up the O? Because the O, or in other words, the circle, is very important. It's a very imperative. It's a very important thing that a lot of us have forgotten about, right? Like if you look around your house right now, right, you'll see a bunch of circles, right? Like for an example, this right here has a circle on it. This right here has a circle on it. This right here has a circle on it. Circles. This smoothie, circle, right? Etc. Right? My iPhone that I'm recording off of has multiple circles on it. But why? Because life works in a circle. See, and I've talked about this before, right? Our ancestors, when they would dance and do certain rituals, they would dance in a circle. They would hold hands and dance in a circle. They showed us this in the movie Wakanda Forever Part 2, where they was all holding hands and stuff in a circle and stuff, and they was dancing or whatever, right? These are different rituals. These are different things that we used to practice. A lot of us still do practice these things to this day, right? Maybe so, right? Now look, right, respect, follow respect. And another thing is too, right, is that when it comes to the circle, right, God is everything, but God is also a circle, right? What goes around comes around. Doesn't that sound like a circle? What goes around is going to come back around. Doesn't that sound like a circle? And what is karma? Karma is whatever energy you give out is going to come back to you, kind of like a circle. You ever see like the karma symbol where like it's like a snake and it's biting its own tail, but which way is the snake going? It's going in a circle, right? You ever notice when you're trying to use the bathroom, your toilet paper, the tissue is a circle. The bathroom that you're sitting on, the toilet that you're sitting on is a circle, right? When you're driving your car, it's a circle. God is the O. God is the circle. Right? God talks in shapes, God talks in numbers, etc. Right? So the O, and not just the O, the one is very important too. Look at your house right now. Look how many ones you see. Right? Look at how many ones you see, right? Now look, right? See, the O is very important because, see, a lot of people in today's society, right? Like a lot of Caucasians, what they'll do is they'll do certain they'll do certain rituals and they'll draw the circle, but before they draw the circle, they'll put a triangle first, then they'll draw a circle over it. See, us so-called black people, we goddesses and guys, we don't got to do that. They do that for protection. We don't have to do that. We naturally have protection. We're naturally protected beings. We're divine beings. We naturally are protected. We're always protected. You don't have to go, draw a triangle and that's just like, it's more different ways that they be doing it, not just necessarily that they might use a pentagram and then put a circle over the pentagram, etc. You know what I'm saying? Like, so look, right? Another thing is too, right, is that when it comes to the circle, right? The circle is very important, right? You can channel your ancestors through being in a circle, right? See, a lot of us have forgotten, but in our past lives, a lot of us, we would dance together and we would hold hands in a circle. Doesn't that sound familiar, kind of like in church? Because I grew up in a Christian home and a Muslim home, so I know about both. When I did used to go to church, I was never Christian, but when I did used to go to church, though, I remember a lot of times when at the end of, before church was over with, right, we would all be in a circle and we'd all be holding hands. What I didn't really realize at the time was, I was very young, by the way, what I didn't realize at the time was that we was connecting energy. See, when you're holding somebody's hand, y'all are connecting energy. Y'all are giving off energy. When you're kissing somebody, you're giving off energy. Y'all are giving off energy. When you're having sex with somebody, y'all are transferring energy. Y'all are giving off energy. This is why you can constantly have sex with somebody and you start to realize, dang, why is she starting to look like me? Why is he starting to look like me? Right, because y'all are switching off DNA. Y'all are giving each other y'all's genes, y'all's energy. Literally, this is why if you have sex with a person for a long period of time, you might start to realize, dang, why do we look alike all of a sudden? When I first met her, when I first met him, we did not look alike like that. What happened? Right, because y'all are giving each other y'all's genes. Y'all are switching genes. Y'all are giving each other genes. You see what I'm saying? So look, right. So in church, why at the end of church did they do that? Why did they get in a circle? Because that's the ritual. Rather, if these churches realize that or not. Now at the time when I was young, when I was at church, I didn't know it wasn't a ritual, none of that stuff, right? At the time, I didn't know. But of course, I know now, though. You feel me? And I don't go to church no more. I don't do none of that stuff no more. You know what I'm saying? But when I was like, at church and stuff, I didn't know about that type of stuff. You feel me? But I do now, though. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, though. So look, right? So with church, right? A lot of churches, what they'll do is at the end of church, they'll get in a circle and they'll all hold hands. See, this is like, it's kind of like a bootleg version of how we used to do back in the day. See, back in the day, we would hold hands, we would talk, say affirmations, run in a circle, or, dance in a circle, or people, like, you ever notice, like, at a club, right? See, the circle is everywhere, y'all, if not everywhere, right? See, you ever notice at a club, and I don't do the party and stuff like that when it comes to I don't be clubbing, but you ever notice, like, you go to a club, and, like, you know what I'm saying, the women or the dudes, or both might be dancing or whatever, and they're kind of like, and it was a fly, y'all, but they're kind of like be like huddling like in a circle, and then like on the outside it's a circle, and then on the inside it's kind of like this own circle, and it's like the people in the inside of the circle, they're dancing or whatever, doing whatever they're doing, right? You feel me, right? So yes, the circle, right, it represents us. It represents the goddesses and the gods. It also represents life, right? It also represents God. This is why the circle, right, it's a lot of power in the circle, right? You ever notice like you ever seen like them hypnosis type of people, like they hypnotize you or whatever, and like you ever notice like a lot of them use a clock? What shape is a clock? A clock is a circle, right? And then they're kind of just like doing it like that or whatever, right? You see what I'm saying, bro? Excuse me. The thing is, bro, see, the thing is with the 0, with the O, right? Look at your phone. Your phone, iPhone, has an O. Even if you have an Android, there's an O in that. Your camera is an O, right? See, it's a lot of power within using the circle, right? You ever notice, like, for an example, right? Like, I'm gonna give another example. You ever notice, like, when you was in school, especially like elementary or maybe like even middle school, how like teachers would be like, all right, everybody, let's get in a circle. Or let's all go around and get in a circle and let's tell a little bit about yourself, like introduce yourself, like a little introduction about yourself, right? We use a circle a lot, whether we realize it or not. It's a lot of power in the circle, right? You see what I'm saying? See, what a lot of people don't realize is that, I'm about to get more deep, y'all. See, when you walking in a circle, right, and we just constantly walking in a circle, right? If you do that in certain places and certain energies, etc., you can tap in and channel certain energies and certain frequencies, right? I'm not going to get too deep into that in this video, but yes. Yeah, look, right? Another thing too with the 0 is that the 0 and the 1, right? They both represent God. All the numbers represent God. Another thing with the 1 is that the 1, right? The 1 also represents God as well. Because what do a lot of people, if you look around, a lot of things have a like kind of like an L, or like kind of just not like an L, like like a lowercase L, or kind of like a 1, right? Because it is a 1, right? And I could do a whole separate video on that about how alphabets and numbers are actually the same. But look, right? So like the 1, right? You see the 1 a lot. You might see the 1 a lot because the 1 also represents God as well. Even though everything represents God, but that O, that 0, very, 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 very powerful energy. You see what I'm saying? Very, very powerful energy. But look, man, If you want to book a one-on-one consultation with me, just DM me on my Instagram at HumbleOllie 2 times. And I catch y'all from Muzz on the next one, man. Peace.